What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast Reboot. I'm your host, James, and as you can see, I have two different members here in the podcast. I'm joined here by Jesse.
What up, boys?
And Mike.
What's up, guys?
Awesome. Man, we decided to reboot the podcast. As you know, this was a passion of mine for those of you who actually know me personally, and we're just reviving it. I guess you can call this the Random Encounter Remake, Episode 1. And we'll be back with the Random Encounter Rebirth, Episode 2. No, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
No, so just to start this off, what's everyone been playing? Let's start with you, Mike.
Me? Actually, I'm playing a few things, man. I started playing Tales of Arise. Didn't get too far in that because then I got Horizon Forbidden West, and I never got to play that because Elden Ring came out at the same time. And actually, like, one of my guilty pleasures is simulator games. So I actually been playing Power Wash Simulator because it's on Game Pass. It's the most relaxing game in the world, bro. Like, I swear, after a long day, you just clean stuff all day. Like, it's awesome, man.
See, I used to power wash in real life. That was actually one of my jobs when my older son was born, or my oldest son was born. And I don't know, for some reason, every time I see people talking about it, I was like, man, I used to do that in real life. I don't think I want to do that in a game.
It's like super relaxing if you just want to, like, you get off work, you had a long day, it's chill, you don't really have to think, you know what I mean? It's more like it's a meditation, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can die, you know what I mean, or anything like that. So you're just like kind of like focused. I'm like, I'm gonna clean the hell out of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I to go with that, like, the only simulator game that I've played is Goat Simulator. On they had added it to like Apple Arcade, so I'm able to play that for free. And I played that with the kids, and that thing is ridiculous. How you just gotta headbutt everybody.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though.
Man, so like all those, like, because they have like the semi simulators and like lawn mowing simulator and like stuff like that, and those games are apparently super big in like Europe because like a lot of people don't have like a big yard to like mow the lawn and like stuff like that, so they find it super interesting. It's weird, bro. It's weird.
That is weird. What about you, Jesse? What you been playing?
Man, I've been playing a few games, honestly. Right now, I'm in the middle of Digimon Survive. I'm about 30 hours in, I would give or take right now. Mostly grinding. As well as, I've been in that Fortnite kick recently, so trying to finish up that battle pass, trying to get whatever I need out of that. And then I picked up Pokemon Sword again, just because I wanted to actually go through the DLC. Never went through it. Kind of got hyped because of Scarlet and Violet. So trying that out, seeing whether or not I like that DLC, because apparently behind the scenes, that DLC was supposed to be the testing grounds for Violet and Scarlet.
Yeah, I stopped, I think, I want to say at the 6th gym leader in Pokemon. I want to say Shield was the one that I was playing, and I don't know, it just couldn't grab me. Like, one of the things about Pokemon games in general is the music that usually captures me and makes me move forward, and I just wasn't feeling it. Not only that, like, all the original Pokemon I just wasn't a fan of, except for like the legendary. So I don't know. Like,
Well, it's sad. They cut everything out. Like, they cut a lot of content out, and it was using like some models from the 3DS and all that. So
Game Freak needs to tighten up, man. Like, cause I beat it, but it's like I feel like they just got so used to people just like eating their stuff up that they stopped caring. You know what I mean? They're just like, we're just gonna drop this and whatever. Like, 'cause I played every single Pokemon, but I think Sword and Shield, like, I was playing it and I was bored. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, this isn't fun.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I was feeling the other night. I was feeling bored. Like, I'm just trying the DLC out, and I'm like bored of that already. So I don't know if I'm going to drop it or not yet.
I mean, you got it. Now you just gotta power through.
Yeah, might as well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
James, what are you playing?
Well, same thing like you. I've been juggling around a bunch of games. I'm actually been playing mainly Final Fantasy 7 Remake on the Steam Deck. It's my third playthrough. Started on PS4 and PS5.
Third?
Yeah. So.
Oh my god, bro! You
PS4
like that game,
Dude.
Well, it's one of those things that's funny. Like, I enjoy it, and I've noticed, like, on this third round going through, towards the end, you can really tell, like, the filler content that they put in there before you. It's like right before you go into like the Shinra building to rescue. Well, spoilers for what a 20-year-old game. Um, you
It's
know,
not a spoiler, man. It's common knowledge at
yeah,
this point. Like,
What a
but
remake!
right when you go to rescue like Aerith, you can see like they put in a bunch of stuff in your way before you go there to kind of like fill that gap. And like right there, I was just getting bored of like, all right, let me just go inside Shinra building and complete it. But yeah, I've been playing that. I'm right there at the end. Once I finish that up, I'm gonna uninstall that because it's 100 gigs on my Steam Deck, and I like to free up that space. But that's not the only game I've been playing. I actually been going back and playing Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, and that came out on the Wii, and that's probably one of my favorite Fire Emblem games. I think it's super underrated. It's super hard too. When you play it on normal mode, it's actually the hard mode for Japan because they mistranslated it. So when people play it on normal mode, they're actually playing on hard mode. But like, I love that game, the music, the story, and everything. It's amazing. But yeah, those are really the
I
main
just
games. Go ahead.
yeah, I just downloaded that app for the 'cause I got the Wii Go work emulator going.
Yeah,
So like I just downloaded that like I was about to start playing it because I love Fire Emblem.
Oh,
yeah,
it upscales really nicely too. Like it looks beautiful, upscaled.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's one of those games that I wish for it to come back to, to Switch. Like I honestly thought that they were gonna do like, a dual pack with Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn on the Switch. And I mean, unfortunately they haven't, and that's I think
Nintendo's the worst. Like I swear, man.
it's
There was the rumors, and then those rumors kind of went dry, and then nothing for
yeah.
Fire Emblem. The only thing that we know is a new
It,
one's in development.
And what sucks with those two games too is they were both on GameCube and Wii, and on GameCube, unfortunately, there wasn't as big of a user base, and it came out right around when the Wii was coming out. So everybody was already dropping the GameCube to go to the Wii. So they didn't sell as many copies for Path of Radiance. And then Radiant Dawn comes over on the Wii, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like there wasn't already a user base, so that did even worse. And I feel like they
do
just
you,
don't want to re-release it because it did bad on the
they're
GameCube
scared.
and Wii. Yeah, but I honestly, it's one of the best stories. I'm actually one of those that even though I enjoy Three Houses, I'm more of a fan of classic Fire Emblem. Like I don't need the school stuff or anything like that. I just want going to
It got
battles
boring.
once there.
The
Yeah,
school stuff, it kind of got gimmicky. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it seemed like
like
a because
fillers.
everyone's doing it. Like yeah,
Exactly. It's all it
it was,
is fillers, and it's like no, I just want to get into the action. Give me a little bit of story beats, and then go straight to the action. That's
bro. I stopped supporting Nintendo because like so they stopped selling games, but you can't download emulators and stuff because they say that's pirating. But it's like you can't make money off this game anymore anyway. So why do you care? You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's just like,
We just
and
need
then you don't release it on your consoles. You don't like try to like so, like you're making this game die pretty much to where you can't just access it at all.
yeah. We just
And like
need.
they're not there.
Go ahead.
There's no game preservation. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing like video game preservation because a lot of these games you can't access anymore unless you emulate it.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's going to become a problem not now but probably in like 20 years, you know, because like
yeah,
physical copies for like a Path of Radiance,
yeah,
CIB goes for like $300, dude.
yeah.
Like so you
Yeah,
can't even buy it and play it, so it's
Exactly,
crazy.
and that's one of the main things, right? And then like, let's say if you still do have a physical copy around, right? You have to find a GameCube, right? And GameCubes, how much are they going for? They
Yep,
skyrocketed. If you want
yep.
to play
And they don't
Radiant
even work
Dawn,
with
same thing.
TVs. You have to buy like a HD adapter for it to work on your TV, dude.
Exactly. Like
Like
yeah.
honestly, Virtual Console should have stood. It was the best idea. Like the Wii is hilarious. The Wii had some of the best like services, right? On a system. Virtual Console was like the best thing ever. You had not only Nintendo classics, you had Sega classics, TurboGrafx 16. You had all these great classics. And then it's like, oh, next generation, let's forget about all that. Like why?
I don't know what they're doing, man. It's
It
like I don't
just
know.
didn't
Like
make sense.
you know,
they could print money. They could literally print money if
yeah.
they just release like their whole game catalog.
You
And
know,
I know a lot of it has to do with royalties and everything like that, but you can just like change some stuff around and still release it.
yeah. It's a shame, but we're not only a Nintendo podcast. There's other things that we're going to want to talk about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
before we get into our main topics, there are a couple of things that I did want to mention. There's some cool news that were announced actually. One of them is Tactics Ogre Reborn. Is it Reborn or Rebirth? Gotta double check that
I
now.
think it's reborn, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it's Reborn.
I think it is
I
Reborn.
believe
Yeah,
so.
see,
Yeah, it's reborn.
saying the random
Yeah.
encounter rebirth kind of confused me there. But yeah, Tactics Ogre Reborn just got announced, coming on pretty much all platforms for gaming. I'm actually pretty hyped for that. I love, hence me loving Fire Emblem. I love tactics RPGs. Digimon Survive is one of them, kind of. Fire Emblem's another one. I'm glad that this got announced, where I feel one step closer to that Final Fantasy Tactics remake or HD remake, whatever you want to say. What do you guys think about it? Are you guys excited for it?
Honestly, I am. Um, Tactics Ogre, honestly, when I was a kid, I got Tactics Ogre 64 as a kid. Like, that was a birthday gift. So, seeing that Square, honestly, is dipping their toes and bringing back old games, in a way, is kind of exciting, and seeing where it goes. Like, you know how the Sega usually releases a game here and there to try to see if people are interested.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this, or even the Capcom test, where they'll throw a game out and see how it sells. I think honestly, Square Enix is going down that rabbit hole to see what games we're actually interested in.
Yeah. I never got to play it personally. Like I watch people play it and everything like that, and I love tactics games, so I'm excited for like the re-release, like or the remake.
Yeah.
Are they remaking it or are they just like kind of like porting it over?
It's like an
It's actually a
HD
full,
port.
it's
It's
a full remaster.
yeah.
Oh, okay, it's a remaster. Yeah, I'm excited. I never got to play it, so I'm like super stoked for it.
Yeah, so the original game came out on, I believe, the Super Famicom, and then from there they did a remake on PSP. It came out around a little bit after Final Fantasy Tactics, which was that one was Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, and then now this version is coming out. So they pretty much this is a third version of that same game, but it's nice to see because it is the original creator of Final Fantasy Tactics who created this game. So you can see kind of with all where all those elements were before they moved over to Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm excited for it. It has the same battle style. Like I said, I love the art style that they use. Everything about it is just great. Like when you look at the gameplay of it, I know they had like these little like was it Tetra card or Terra card system introduced
Yep.
in there, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool. I'm definitely excited to go. Definitely putting that on my Steam Deck so I can play on the go for sure.
that's what I'm excited about
Yeah,
too, bro. Like Steam Deck
Yeah.
game changer right there, dude.
yeah, it's nice to play
And
these.
it's
Go ahead, Jesse.
It's honestly a full remaster. They're talking about doing upgraded or updated game design. Like they redid all the music again, fully voice acted as well. So like they're
I mean, is the
really putting
graphics the
their
same?
heart and soul. Uh they're using, I believe it's the same engine as the like Triangle Strategy and those
Oh,
No,
yeah, yeah,
quote
yeah.
unquote
it's
pixel remakes.
I'm
no,
gonna look it
it's
up real quick.
yeah, it's not the same engine. It's still the same engine they use on PSP. It's just prettier looking. That's all it is.
I love
Oh,
that
okay,
3D
okay.
2D stuff though, like
Yeah,
the triangle strategy. I love those graphics,
yeah.
man.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying earlier, Jesse, I do feel like Square Enix is doing that. I'm glad they're reviving and bringing back like older games that we liked. Going back to video game preservation, you have Crisis Core coming
Yeah.
back, and that was one of those games that
Yeah.
was impossible to play if you didn't have it a PSP with a physical disc. You couldn't play it because it never got released digital on the PlayStation Store, and that's pretty much where it, I guess you could say, died at
I
until
mean,
it's been
not
reborn.
the only way you can play it is on an emulator.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And in order
exactly.
Yeah.
to get it, you got to do some shady stuff. You know what I mean? Which is like that's on the company. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because you don't make it easily accessible. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
It,
Like so.
and that's one thing I'm happy about that they brought that. I was hyped when they announced that. Now you have Tactics Ogre Reborn. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of those other games that it is. I believe on PS3 you can download it, and on PSP and Vita, because it was part of no, actually it was a separate collection, so you
So
can still get those
so
on
you could
there.
you could originally buy the PS3 version of Tactics. Now, the PS3 version of Tactics was like one of the worst versions of Final Fantasy Tactics. just because it was the European ROM for Final Fantasy Tactics.
Really?
That's so
No,
lazy. That's
now
so
you
lazy on
can't
their
quote
part,
me
dude.
on that. And
Yeah.
then when they did have War of the Lions, which was on the PSP,
Yeah.
so that was the last one. But now, what they released it on Apple? I think it's on Android now as well
On
for
mobile.
War of
Yeah.
the Lions.
Yeah. So they did release that on mobile as well. So I guess yeah, that is one of those games. But I mean, I would just like to have it on, my main game systems that I always use, whether it's PS5, Xbox, Switch, Steam, anything like that.
That's
Just to
exactly.
just to build onto your library. Yeah, but that's not the only announcement that happened this week. One of my favorite announcements, actually. I'm a huge fighting game fan. I'm not super competitive in the way that like I feel like I'm the best, but I do love fighting games. But they did announce a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade cabinet by One Up Arcade, and man, I am hyped about that. I'll see if I, in the post editing, I'll actually put the arcade inside here so everyone can see, but it does come with a list of games. Jesse, actually, you want to go ahead and read all that list of games?
Yeah, so there's 8 classic titles that they told us so far that was in. So we're going to get MVC2, MVC, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, Children of the Atom, which is the first X-Men game, and X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, as well as Marvel Superheroes and War of the Gems, which was, looking it up, was a beat 'em up from the SNES era.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, I think that one I did play. I remember renting it from Blockbuster back in the days, and I believe I did play that one. I know there was a Marvel game that I played on Super Nintendo, and I loved it. I would always pick either Wolverine or the Hulk and go through the levels.
Yeah, that's War of the Gems.
Okay,
So
so
I
then
was looking
that
it
probably
up.
is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had so much love for that, but yeah, I'm hyped about that. What about you, Mike?
I hate fighting games, bro.
Really?
Dude,
Oh,
I rage so hard, dude. I
Oh
can't,
no.
dude.
All
Like,
right,
I'm just
guys.
like,
I'm sorry. We're
what?
gonna have to cancel this podcast.
Yeah,
oh
We'll
man.
so
But
I'll play them, right? But like, I'm really bad at them. So like, every time I play them, like, I think I'm getting better, and then I'll play like one of you guys that plays them all the time, and then I just can't do nothing, and then I hate them again. You know what I mean? I won't pick it up again for like, a few years, and everything. But like, I still like like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But I'm just it's not my cup of tea. You know what I mean?
so let me ask you this: Are you a fan of Smash?
No, I hate Smash.
Oh
Like,
man.
yeah. No, I'm no, real stuff. Like,
whoa.
so I wouldn't say hate. Hate's a very strong word. But I will say one of my buddies is like semi-pro Smash, and he's the only person that would play like, like Smash. So every time I played, I just got destroyed, and I'm just like, I hate this. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this game dies. Like, I'm just like, so that's like the big like that's the controversial opinion of mine. You know what I mean? I don't like Smash, man.
Oh man.
Like, I don't like any kind of like fighting games. Like, I'll play them. I'll play them for people. You know what I mean? Because people want to play and stuff like that. And I'm not going to be like the loser that's like, no, I don't want to play because I get mad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so, but nah, man, nah.
Oh man. It's all right. We forgive you, Mike. We forgive you. But yeah,
And
no.
I'll try
honestly,
for you guys. I'll try for you guys, man.
and
Like, but you'll
honestly,
see if you ever play with me. Like, I'm bad, dude. I'm bad.
and honestly, this was like a big step because, like, MVC2, like we were saying with older games earlier, was impossible to find or even play unless you emulated them.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah.
like copies of the game for the Dreamcast, PS2, and Xbox were going for like 179, almost $200.
Who
So
can
And when
afford
they
that for a
did,
game?
so
and
That's
then when
crazy,
they
dude.
did the PS3 and Xbox Arcade releases of the games, they delisted them like a year or 2 years after the game was on the
yeah.
marketplace. And looking at just a console alone that has those are like $600-700.
So
That's
I had
crazy,
a
dude.
PS3. I had sold it recently, but the PS3 had the demo of the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 release on it. And it sucks. I never bought the full game, and then when they delisted it, because it was so random, they announced that they delisted the games, and the games were gone right away. I was upset, but I kept the demo on there just to play. I think you got to play as like three characters. But yeah, that was one of those things that I was upset, and in my opinion, I still think it is the best versus game out there. I prefer it more than Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Even though Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was great, I still don't think it was as good as 2. Doesn't have the roster that 2 has. And then the gameplay to me just seemed a lot quicker, and it has some really good music as well. But yeah, moving along.
Yeah, like,
Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
no, man. I was just agreeing 100% with you on that one.
Nah, those games can die, bro. I hate them. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I think you should give it a try, even if it's single player mode.
I will.
You'll
I
enjoy
will.
it.
I will. I will.
But yeah, moving
I'll
along.
give it a try on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, definitely. Moving along to our major topics here. One of the games I did want to talk about was Digimon Survive. It's one of those games that quietly got released. There really wasn't that much marketing from Bandai Namco at all, and it was pushed back so many times. It got announced. I want to say what 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it was just
2018, I believe,
20.
was when it was announced.
And the funny thing about that was they showed a trailer and they show you like the tactics gameplay, and then after that, it just vanished. And then I want to say what a year ago or two, they showed another trailer, and it was literally just the same trailer again, with nothing extra. It's like what?
They did add something extra. Voice acting.
Yeah,
That was
that's true.
it.
You're
It
right.
was just voice acting.
They did add that. You're right. But then like after that, like every trailer, and I've looked at this. If you go on YouTube and just check out like all the trailers they posted, every trailer literally is the same pieces of the video. Like it's literally the same thing over and over. And to be fair, they did announce like after the game did come out, they did say not to like stream it or not to post spoilers because all of your actions change throughout the story. So depending on what you do, the story does change. But still, it's like a lot of people were not knowing what the game was or what the game is. And then, of course, after the game comes out, we realize that it is a visual novel with some strategy RPG in the mix of it, where
It's a
70%.
visual novel.
Yeah, so it's mainly a visual
Yeah,
novel.
it's
Like
about
70% of it is a visual
70.
novel. Yeah, and then 30% of it is the
I would be mad,
tactics.
man, because like I saw the gameplay and I thought it was a tactics game. I would have
Yeah.
been like real pissed if
Well,
like I bought it as a visual novel, dude. Like,
to
All right. So I bought it. So going in with what limited trailers we had and the gameplay footage, like from what I've been playing so far, I mean, we could get into that later on after we get through this, is just all novel. This could have been easily a OVA, maybe 3 or 4 episodes, throw it on Crunchyroll or whatever it may be, and kind of call it a day.
that'd be dope. That would have been dope.
Yeah, I mean, so I started playing it. I'm in the beginning, and the story is interesting. They are following the Digimon Ghost game aspect of it, of where they're putting horror elements into it, where the Digimon are like, well, they're monsters, right? So they're putting like the horror aspects to that, and I do like those horror aspects of it. The creator did say that it's gonna be very reminiscent of Lord of the Flies, and I can definitely see that where you're a group of kids, you're in this area, this campsite area that you're traversing, and you see like certain things like there's like a cave with a mural of like Digimon attacking like a village and things like that and stuff like that. And if you remember in Lord of the Flies, it was just a bunch of group of kids who were stranded on an island, and they kind of like grouped up and certain people went their certain ways. So I could see kind of how that mixes together. But
He
it just
cheated. He just copying the book, bro.
yeah, but the story is good. Like it's got me hooked. I do admit that I am disappointed. I wish there was more tactics battles because like there's like a scene in the beginning where there's a bunch of like Gatsumons there. They're going after the kids, and it's like, oh cool, I'm gonna get to battle. And then no, it's just he runs away, and then it's
No,
text. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna get to battle, and then nope, he runs away again. I'm like, okay, when am I gonna get to battle? And that's the downside to that game. What about you, Jesse? I know you've been playing.
I mean, I've been playing for about 30, like I said earlier, about 30 hours, almost close to 40-hour range right now. And the story honestly has gripped me in the way of like I'm not wanting to look at spoilers or anything like that, kind of going in blind. Like your path legit determines what happens to those kids.
Hmm.
Like I already lost two of my guys just because of my choices that was at the beginning of the game. So, like, actually
Hmm.
going through doing those choices, like, it's cool and all, but like, they should have put out the promotion saying, "Hey, this is a visual novel with this tactics," because you got people who are buying it and returning it. Like when I went to go to GameStop to pick up my pre-order, there was somebody who was already returning the game as soon as I was picking up my game. And there was really like
I would have done
no
the same thing.
promotion. Like, and like at first I was like, all right, it could have been a kid who didn't like, tactical RPGs, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but that just shows a sign that like they misled so many people and the advertisement, promotional art or anything for it, we didn't get nothing.
Yeah.
Even like I was asking one of my friends who was stationed in Japan, he was like, there was no promotion in Japan whatsoever for Digimon Survive. He's like, maybe some buildings had posters and some arcades and like video game stores had little posters here and there, but they got the same treatment as us with promotion. They had nothing.
Yeah, you see, and I think most of the disappointment comes in the form of visual novels. I don't think everybody likes visual novels. And I've never played a visual novel, so this is like my first time being in one. And I would say I would definitely prefer more of the tactics gameplay because I love tactics games. Again, the whole beginning of this podcast is us talking about, you know, tactics ogre and things like
Yeah.
that. And the gameplay when you are doing the battle is great. Like I do love the tactics battle. I do like how everything is. It just kind of, sucks that it's only, it's more visual novel than that, and I can see why
Wait,
people would be disappointed.
wasn't the last game like more of like a Pokemon-ish game? Like
Yeah,
So
Cyber Sleuth?
yeah,
So Cyber Sleuth, I beat both of them. So there was two. There was Hacker's Memories and just the base Cyber Sleuth games, and those were pretty much like a Final Fantasy style three versus three battle system
So why would
mixed
they
in
change
with.
it? It doesn't make sense.
So they're planning, from what I was reading in like articles and stuff, they're planning on making different genres of games to tell different stories. So they're doing this one as more as a visual novel. They're hoping to get more out of it. While the Cyber Sleuth was that, oh, we could bank on the money from Persona 5 because that was just coming out when Cyber Sleuth was out. And the artist who did uh, the artwork for Cyber Sleuth did old SMT games.
yeah.
So he
Oh,
was one of
okay.
the artists just there. So they were banking that money on, oh, some kid who just bought Persona 5 will go to the store and pick up Cyber Sleuth because the art looks
Looks the
exactly
same.
the same.
Yeah,
It's not even the same game though. You can't even compare the two. Persona
yeah.
5 is like
Yeah,
go like
And I
yeah,
mean,
and
my
like
go ahead, finish, Jesse.
and like my part, or like the thing about like this one is I'm 30 hours in, and now it's starting to feel. If you ever played Devil Survivor on the DS and 3DS, it was a Shin Megami game. Um, it had tactics battling,
it's like
but
Ace
it
Phoenix,
was
right? Like
almost like
the
Ace Phoenix. You had
yeah.
tactics battle with like a lot of visual novel, and it's starting to get like a little bit more darker in terms of like themes and everything like that. So I'm hoping, hopefully I'll be finishing up in the next week or two
Yeah.
and seeing if that was actually, if it's worth what I've been trying to say it is now. But
Y-
like, I'm not interested in it as much as I'm trying to push myself forward. Like, they tell you your decisions make a choice of battle, but at the beginning of the game, they make your main character a good guy. But like you go through and you start taking these choices, it makes your main character not even seem like a main character.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do
That's
like
yeah, that's
the concept of it. Like my biggest thing with other Digimon games are those two Pokemon. Like, and growing up and watching the anime, you went and you saw like each kid had their own Digimon, and I didn't like that it was like like Cyber Sleuth. You have one protagonist, but he has like all a billion Digimon that he can go in and out. I do like where Survive, they each kid has their own Digimon, and when you're doing the tactics gameplay, you know that each Digimon is tied to a kid. Now there are some Digimon you do recruit later on that don't have a kid like to back them up, which I get it. Like something like that is great, but I do like the Survive Tactics gameplay. I hope that in the future they do come out with a true Tactics Digimon game. In my opinion, I think that would be the best way to
that
go.
would be sick, dude. That would be really
What
Yeah,
dope if they did something
honestly,
like that. Honestly,
and honestly, the tactics gameplay being 30 hours in is amazing.
yeah,
The only downside, like I feel bad, is like you
30
get
hours?
I'm 30 hours in right now. I'm
Oh, okay.
about I would say about midway through. That's with grinding and stuff like that. But like if you look, there's only 119 Digimon in that game.
yeah,
How
And you
many
see
Digimon are
about
they?
there's I would say about a few thousands, maybe
yeah,
a few good hundreds. Like, but like the thing is, it's like the D and F tier Digimon that nobody really cares about. Like, I mean, you got your faces like Agumon, Biomon, Patamon, those guys. But like the main roster that you could recruit is just all these D and F tier Digimon that nobody really cares about.
Well, I mean, and to me,
That's a
that's
dumb decision.
well. See, I'm gonna be on the flip side to that because I think that's smart. Because like Falcomon, for example, I honestly didn't know where he was from, but he's one of the main Digimon that's tied to like one of the kids, and I actually like him throughout the story. Like he seems like a pretty cool Digimon, and he looks cool. His
He,
design is really
he's
cool.
honestly he's cool. So he actually got rebooted twice. So originally, if you look at Falcomon,
Mhm.
he was actually supposed to be a ninja. So his original design was a black penguin with a
Hmm.
ninja outfit, which was cool. But this new version, I mean, it's cool to see him, but for a bird with teeth, it's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah,
oh no, there's something about those scenes when he's talking. It's just kind of creepy, and like I said, I mean, the battles are amazing, but the visual novel just at the beginning, it's a 2 hour 2 to 2.5 hours of visual novel
yeah,
before you even get to go into a tutorial battle.
That's crazy.
yeah. Well,
I would be so upset, like if I bought that game and then I have to go through like 2.5 hours of that.
yeah.
Honestly, like about I would say about 4 hours in the game, you were already just finishing up tutorials.
I guess that's like any JRPG though. You know how
Yeah,
that goes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just that
but
the
it's a
tutorials are
visual. A-
too spread
yeah,
across. So it's like here's the visual novel portion you read, and then when you go into a battle, you think it's like a legit battle. You're on your own. It's another tutorial for something that if you're already familiar with the tactics games, you know what it does. Um, yeah,
right.
it's a shame, but like I said, I hope the next game is tactics based and they can just go in with full gameplay and less visual novel. Because the story is great, and if they can keep this story going on that road, I think they have potential to make a really good mainstream game. But I mean, who knows?
How
We'll see.
many? It, it didn't even sell good. How do they get the money for this stuff, man? Like nobody knew about it.
I
Like
mean,
They're
Bandai.
trying to make more. Like it's like crazy,
Yeah, I
dude.
don't, I don't, I don't know.
honestly, I pre-ordered the game back in 2019, 2020, I believe, and they canceled my pre-order originally from GameStop. And then when they started to heavily announce it again, like I was even talking to the guy at
Yeah,
GameStop, they only got 5 pre-orders in, and two of those pre-orders, like people already canceled. Like in total, they may had 5 copies of the PS4 version, 3 copies of the Xbox version, and the only pre-order versions of the Switches were the only ones that they had in stock. So they only had 2 copies of the Switch, which I pre-ordered it for the Switch.
I feel like that's a Switch game. I
Yeah.
feel like I wouldn't get that for like a PS4, Xbox kind of
I
like
would
deal.
I would say it is a Switch game. The only downside about it is the load times. Now, like this is like go having the cartridge. It's a little bit faster, but I was reading where there's scenes in the game where it's in or just loading a battle 7 to 10 seconds, maybe even longer to load up the battle.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Especially nowadays with my NVMe SSDs, like I don't have to wait for anything. When I have to wait like 10 seconds, I get upset. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
But moving along to our
I
next
mean,
topic that's similar to Digimon, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had a brand new trailer that showed off more of the gameplay of what's going to go on with it. Um, I don't know about you guys, but again, I wasn't a fan of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I just think it was kind of like, lackluster. I did enjoy Diamond and
yeah,
Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus, and this seems to build on what Pokemon Legends Arceus introduced in that kind of open world, only accepted this is a real open world. In their words, they actually said it was an open world where it seems there are three different objectives you get to do. One of them, of course, being the gym leader, the other one being a story element, and then they didn't say what the last one is, but there are three different things
it's
you can do in the world.
treasure hunting.
Is it?
Yeah, so the third one's the treasure hunting, then you have the evil team storyline,
Okay.
and then you have the gym leader story.
Okay.
I
And
took notes on that when that presentation happened.
nice. Yeah, and I did like everything that I saw with that. I did like about it. I do like that you can do the gyms in any order. And I think one of the best things that a lot of people are going to enjoy is multiplayer, how now you can join somebody else's world and kind of adventure together. I think that's pretty cool.
oh, that's dope. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4-player co-op apparently.
Yeah.
We'll see how well that works. You know how Nintendo is with online.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, duh. No high hopes on that one.
Well, I mean, Monster Hunter Rise works great, and supposedly that's using like Nintendo's newer service. Because I don't know if you guys remember when they were beta testing the newer service, they started off with Monster Hunter Rise, and I guess certain things like Wii or not Wii Sports, Nintendo Switch Sports is also using that same service. And when you play it online, you actually don't get any latency issues. So I assume if they're gonna use that, online should be great. But I mean, I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to come out. What about you, Mike?
Nah, man. Like honestly, I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah.
Like I can't get excited for games anymore, especially Pokemon games. Like it's like one of those things. Like I played Sword and Shield, and it seemed like so rushed. You know what I mean? I guess
Yeah.
that's the word for it. It just seemed
Yeah.
like they were trying to push out like an open world Pokemon game as fast as they could,
Mm-hmm.
and like I wasn't about it. You know, and it's just like I'm 29, so I've literally been playing Pokemon games since I was like what, like 7 or 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I've been playing
Yeah,
Pokemon games.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's like I can't get excited if you don't like keep it up to date. You know, especially there's so many like good like Pokemon clones that you could like play.
Yeah.
You know, like what it's a Shin Megumi Tensei or whatever. I
Yeah.
never know how to say it.
Oh, Shin Megami
Yeah,
Tensei.
yeah. And then like
There you
so like that's like kind of like a good like Pokemon clone-ish, you know, that kind of deal because you have like all the monsters and everything. And but yeah, not really I might give it a pass until I see like the reviews on it. You know
So,
what I mean?
did you get Pokemon Legends Arceus when it came out?
No, I didn't.
No.
I skipped.
So if I
Yeah, I heard
was
mixed
you,
stuff about it.
yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I think got me hooked like right away. At first, I didn't think I was gonna like the elements of just throwing your Pokeball to capture the Pokemon, but it actually gets into it. And I think the further you go into the game and the harder the Pokemon become, the more you have to actually battle them to weaken them to actually capture them. And I don't know, in my opinion, I think it was a great step forward. And I'm excited if they do like a second Pokemon Legends game. I think like going to the Hoenn region where there's like a lot of water would be pretty cool. But I
Right.
for me personally, like I know people complain about the graphics. I didn't care so much about the graphics. I was more
I'm not a
worried about the
graphics
gameplay.
person. As long as the
Yeah,
gameplay is good,
yeah,
or like it's all
exactly.
Yeah,
about
that's
gameplay. But
I could play
it did.
something like that's so bad, but it like graphic wise. But if it
Right.
hooks me, then it's doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I love like the old school graphics. I still play like old school games and everything like that.
yeah,
And I did see in the new Pokemon, like they added like the whole like the legendaries can turn into like what like it's like a bikes, boats, and like stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I'm like that's like a cool like concept and everything too. So we'll see. Honestly, like I'm on the fence about it. Like I'm not getting like Cyberpunk 2077 hyped over
yeah,
it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
we'll see. Like,
Yeah, that's another game we could talk about because I have opinions on that. But I mean, we could talk about that
I
in
have
another
strong
episode.
opinions on that, man. Yeah.
What about you, Jesse? Are you hyped for this, or are you gonna
Honestly,
pass?
I'm actually kind of hyped on looking at the upgrades. If you even look at the first trailer to this trailer, graphic wise, it's a whole different haul. I mean, there wasn't enough meat on that presentation or even that trailer
Yeah,
to get you because they only showed like two new Pokemon, and oh, this is the mechanic of their new gimmick mechanic,
yeah,
which is the crystallized Pokemon,
which I'm not
which
a
is
fan of.
cool.
Oh yeah, I see that. That's like
Oh,
the one where they
yeah,
get big, right, or whatever. What was that called?
Oh,
I forgot what
Gigantamax.
like the
Yeah, like
Gigantamax and
yeah, I
Dynamax.
can't remember what
Yeah.
it's called.
Well, this was like crystallized Pokemon, which is cool, like in a competitive scene because I play competitive Pokemon. Seeing that as the gimmick, everybody just wants Mega Evolutions back, and
I
that's
agree.
what's like one of the best mechanics they could ever added to the game
That
Yeah,
was dope.
because it allowed Pokemon to actually be fully competitive, where you had different teams. And with Sword and Shield, you just, oh, I have a Dynamax Pokemon, I just throw them out, and that's it.
I,
Like, so I have high hopes for this. I mean, the Pokemon that we did see in the trailer was kind of cool, like Fido. We got the new Wooper
yeah,
that came out, so like they're they're showing that they still have ideas for Pokemon. They just don't know what direction they want to go with it.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean
That's Game Freak.
that,
Oh,
and I think part of it also is the issue, like with the audience too, right? I think on one side you have people who want traditional Pokemon, like me, like just give me traditional Pokemon, I'm happy. On the other side, you have people who want
yes, sir.
something different and innovative, but at the same time, like what else is there? Like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, a lot of people hated on it. I was a huge fan. I played through it and I
Oh, I
enjoyed
loved
it.
it.
Yeah,
I thought that was good. I
yeah,
liked it.
me too. It was traditional Pokemon is what I wanted. Like X and Y is a good example of something that I think was a good traditional Pokemon, or even the Hoenn remakes, Alpha Sapphire and was it Omega Ruby?
Omega Ruby. Yep.
Yeah, they were great games, and I do like those games a lot. I just, I mean, it's hard when you
Dude,
transition Pokemon into that 3D space. I think that's where the things get difficult versus a 2D space.
They just need to do a Pokemon MMORPG, dude.
Yeah,
Like, cause I love MMOs, dude, and I feel like Pokemon is like the perfect
perfect.
like
I agree.
concept for like an MMORPG kind of deal.
I
Like,
agree. I think that would be awesome if they can do that. Hopefully this is like a test since you have four players in
we'll
a
see.
single world. Maybe it's a test for something to come. Probably not,
Well, you
but
know, it's it's like one of those things like if you have a good formula, like don't tweak it too much,
yeah,
but still be a little more innovative with it, especially like with me, like a game can be terrible like gameplay wise, but if a story is good, I'm gonna see it through all the way to the end, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But like every Pokemon game has like the same story, and the only reason I like finish them is because I love the gameplay mechanics,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and
Exactly.
that's because it's either you have a good story or you have good gameplay mechanics. You know what I mean? Like, and I
See,
feel like Pokemon can't like hit both. You know what I mean? Like, because they already have the mechanics there, but they don't have stories.
so what's funny for me is there's a lot of the time for me it's also music, and Pokemon has just nostalgic music. Like I had never played the
Oh yeah,
original Diamond and Pearl, and I remember hearing what is the forest? I forgot the name
E-
of the forest now.
Eternal
Yes,
Force.
Eternal Forest. I remember hearing that for the first time, and right away I was like, "Man, this is nostalgic." I never played this game, but this game or this song makes me want to play the game. And after playing the game,
Yeah.
like the music in it is incredible, and that's part of the reason I think that pushes me through a Pokemon game as well, which is why I stopped Sword and Shield because I didn't hear any song that was rememberable except for the Champion Leon
The
song.
Leon song and
Yeah,
the Toby Fox song for the
exactly,
battle stadium, but that was it. And
exactly.
like the thing that I think that's like Pokemon needs to do is have voice acting. Like they showed the
Yeah,
trailer and it
Yeah,
just says, "Oh, like this is not actual voice acted in game."
yeah,
And it's like we're already at like the year 2022 and
everything's voice acted nowadays, dude.
everything's voice acted
yeah,
and Pokemon's 7 years, 8 years behind on that with
yeah,
no voice acting. Like, and you see and you watch even like Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon,
mm,
like even going into Sword and Shield with the like expressions on the characters' faces and those cutscenes. You're just watching the cutscene and smashing the A button to get through dialogue,
yeah.
Yeah,
which would be
exactly, dude.
more immersive if we had actual voice acting.
I mean, I
And
Yeah.
to be fair, a lot of times too, if I read faster than they're voicing the cutscene, so a lot of times I'll hit A before they even finish their dialogue. So, I
yeah,
mean, so
yeah,
it doesn't do much for me.
but you know what would be cool? You know what would be cool is like if, for somebody like you who is just reading the text box,
Hmm.
have it in Japanese, like have
Yeah,
Japanese voice actors.
Yeah.
I mean, Breath of the Wild shows that an open world game could have voice acting
yeah.
without any issues whatsoever.
Well, yeah. I mean, more of like a
That's
traditional
dope.
game because Zelda never had voice acting until Breath of the Wild, except for like the little grunts. Um, but yeah, Breath of the Wild does show, and Dragon Quest is another one where you have a silent protagonist, so you don't have to voice the main character, but you can voice everybody else around them.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You would
no,
I wouldn't
because
expect that in Pokemon anyway. That'd be
yeah,
weird to
no,
have like a talking
main character.
protagonist.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because like the protagonist is you, and like that's your team, and like I don't know if you guys watched the whole presentation or did you even just watch the trailer for it, but like they showed a awesome trailer where gold is running up to red and it was for a mobile game.
yeah,
Like and then it cuts to like Sword and Shield where or not Sword and Shield, but Scarlet and Violet
yeah.
and
Scarlet. Yeah,
it was just like thrown a 2 minute not even a 2 minute trailer and said, "Hey, like this is coming out and this is what we're approved on." And like by now, usually with like Pokemon, you got to see at least the second evolution of the Pokemon
yeah,
your starters. More things like and I feel like this game is going to go down that Sword and Shield route, which I hope it doesn't, where it feels rushed, where they have to have a new Pokemon game out, like how Madden is out every year, or
Call of Duty of JRPGs
NBA,
right
or
there.
yeah,
yeah,
like with me, I would wish for the Pokemon company just to sit back a year or two and develop an actual Pokemon game from scratch.
Well,
Like,
if you actually look at the
It-
timeline, if this comes out in November, from November to November, November last year to November this year, we would have gotten three Pokemon games: Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then you have Scarlet and Violet. So technically, that's five Pokemon games, but it's
yeah,
three different games there. And yeah, no, I
right.
agree. Like, I hope this doesn't kill their vision. Like, Zelda is good because of how long it takes. God of War is good because of how long it takes. They put a lot of care. They're not releasing it every year. So
Every game
hopefully,
company needs to stop with the yearly releases,
yeah.
man. Just make a good game, dude.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
Like,
like
polish it, let the indies handle in between because there's great indie games that come out in between and
like
you don't have to come out with something every year.
and,
exactly. And like I said, I wouldn't be mad if Pokemon just stepped back for like a year, two, three
Yeah.
years,
yeah,
develop a solid title and release it. I don't think anybody would be upset with it.
Yeah.
No one's
I
ever
mean,
mad when a good game comes out. Everyone's mad when a
no.
bad game comes out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
Well.
And like having that development team and everything like that, they could just go back, make a new game. They got tons of money to do it,
Yeah.
to sit back and actually reimagine Pokemon.
they print money, man. Like that's one of those companies that like literally like never have to worry about money.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I guess we'll have to wait and see till Pokemon Scarlet and Violet comes out this fall. Jesse, you know what the actual date is for that?
I think that is November 11th. Let me pull it up real
No,
quick
November
just to make
11th is
sure.
Tactics Ogre. So I know it's not that because that's the only
Oh,
one that has a
November 18th.
18th.
So
Okay.
Tactics Ogre is going to die in a week or two
Yeah.
before or after
Maybe.
Pokemon comes
So,
out.
so what's
We
there?
hope not.
Scarlet or Violet?
I
I
I think
I
I'm gonna do
usually buy
Violet.
I'm gonna go Violet.
honestly I buy the dual pack anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
So
so it don't matter. So what do you
whichever
prefer?
one I'm going to prefer Scarlet, honestly.
So
I kind of
Scarlet.
like his design.
for me,
Yeah.
I've always gone like the bluish colors. I have Pokemon Blue, and then I got Silver. So I always got like the opposite of what was most popular. And I think Scarlet's the most popular right now. So I'm gonna go the opposite
No.
of Violet.
Actually, Violet's the most
Really?
popular
Oh, because the
one.
futuristic
Yeah,
thing.
everybody likes the futuristic legendary over
Yeah,
over the guy
the lizard guy.
on the lizard guy. So I'm
I mean,
gonna
I guess
go
they're
with
both
lizard
lizards.
dude.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're both lizards, but so
I guess we'll see, how that goes. But we are running
Fingers crossed.
we're running low on time. Everybody, I do like to appreciate you guys taking the time to do this podcast with me. And we definitely will be back every week. We're trying to do this podcast at least once a week, and maybe, hey, if we get better at this, we might do a couple podcasts a week. We really don't know. But just keep in mind, stay tuned. If you do like this podcast, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And comment down below, what did you like about it? I know we have some little audio issues and video issues, might not be the best, but we definitely will perfect that as we go. Any last comments, Jesse?
no, none at all. I mean, I like doing this podcast with you guys, and I just want to see it blossom.
Mike?
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, let's do it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, just like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what future content you would like to see too.
Yeah.
You know, if there's anything that you want us to talk about and discuss or like talk about. So
Yeah, definitely. That is a major thing. Write in the comment section so we know, and we'll definitely be looking at that daily. Once again, my name is James. That's Jesse and Mike, and we do really appreciate you joining our podcast. Until next time, see ya.